Father, Heavenly Father, Creator, Savior, come to you today. We're thankful for all that you do for us, all that you've done for us. Heavenly Father, I know that you're with us. You'll always be with us. Continue to bless us. Give us blessings, good health, healing, good directions. Help us lead. Heavenly Father, be there for our elders and our children. Bless them as well. Their future and their knowledge. Thank you for this day. Amen.
Thank you, Coley. I'd like to say good evening to the Tribal Council, the audience, and to our tribal membership that is watching and live stream, as well as our visitors. You have an agenda before you. We need to approve the agenda.
Mr. Chairman, under Tribal Council items, I would like to have a audience for a HCI board appointment.
Excuse me? An audience?
Well, I'm gonna make the presentation with the audience in regards to the HCI board appointment. Let's just make it a Tribal Council item. Let's just do it that way.
Well, I'm gonna call that out of order, Kenny,
Why is that?
because the one prevailing side only can bring that up.
Okay, there's one person that's on the prevailing side, he can bring it up.
Okay, well, let him speak for himself. I'm just calling it, you know.
Okay, no, Curtis, I'm trying to take you through the Robert Rules of Order procedure in the right way. I wanna put this on the agenda, the HCI
Oh, we can do
board
it,
appointment.
but the one with the prevailing side should be bringing that issue up, is what I'm saying.
Well, but I'm gonna make it an issue, and if the prevailing side wants to vote on it, yes, it can be put on the agenda. But if the prevailing side don't care to hear it, fine.
Is any other additions? Not entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
Motion to approve the agenda.
Moved by Foley, is there a second?
Second.
Moved by, second by Kenny. Any objections? If not, motion carries 5-0-0. October 1, 2018 Treasurers Report.
On that one, motion to approve the tribal 2018. It's supposed to be 2019.
Is that where it shows you're making the motion, Jim?
Well, on the correction on page 2, and it says, tribal CFO report. And the third item, it says, main snow motion to approve the tribal 2018 and 2018 proposal. So I think that motion, it said that we would approve that 2019 budget at 2018, go by that, but with the adjustment to the indirect cost rate and the, I think it was insurance rate. Pretty sure you could check with Al on that, but that was his recommendation, that he wanted those included in that motion.
Okay, what do you want to reflect, Jim?
Just, it has to reflect that it's at the 219 budget. Maybe 19? Let me check. Remember on that first, we should have had that budget by, October 1st. Motion to approve the 2019 budget at 20, with what we had in 2018, but with the adjustment with the IDC rate and the insurance adjustment.
Okay, you wanna read that back for Coley, please?
Yeah. Okay, motion to approve the 2019 budget at the 2018 proposal with adjustments to the IDC indirect cost rate and the insurance adjustment. And that was 7-0. Motion carried 7-0.
Get that, Coley?
Yep.
That was a change on that one.
Okay, corrected.
Okay, and is that a motion to approve?
Motion to approve the travel 2019 budget, IDC and insurance adjustment. 7-0. Okay, with that, Jim moves. To approve the October 1, 2018 Treasury Report meeting minutes. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Rollin. Is there any objections? Not, motion carries. 7-0. Proceeding on October 1, 2018. there a motion to approve?
But
Second.
Moved by Jim, second by Roland, to approve the October 1, 2018 regular tribal council meeting minutes. Is there any objections? If not, motion carries 7-0-0. Okay, the third item is October 3rd, 2018 swearing-in ceremony and tribal council election of officers.
motion to approve, Mr. Chair.
Moved by Kenny,
Okay.
second by Louis. Any objections to the motion? Not, motion carries 7-0-0. Number 4, October 9th, 2018 Tribal Council monthly land meeting.
Mr. Chairman, I'm gonna ask the question of why does the tribal council take action to have BIA take over the operations when we have a new board of directors that should be doing that? What is the purpose of the new board of directors if we still call the shots from the table?
Sure.
Jim.
The purpose of that board of directors is to dissolve the corporation according to the bylaws and our business code. So
The board of directors' job is to dissolve what?
that, the land company.
Why does the board have to do that if the council can do it?
It's under our code, the board has to do it.
That's all I have.
Is there a motion to approve?
But is that their sole purpose, is just to be seated so that in case somebody gets the idea that, oh, we need a new board, well.
Is
we'll
there a
have
motion
this
to
one-
approve?
We'll have this one dissolve the old one.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, we moved by Jim, second by Roland. Are there any objections? Four. Okay, call for the vote. Those in favor? 3. Against? 4. Abstentions? No.
Motion failed.
Motion failed.
Tie. You voting?
Hmm?
You vote?
That's 4-3, 3-4.
Oh.
3,
Who was that?
no, 4 was for it, or against it, I mean, and then, yeah, it was,
Mm-hmm.
Corey, it was Kenny and Louie, and then, and Mel, we got used to Mel here, voted no. And yes was Jim, Rollin, and Cole. You know, just to let you know, the council, our obligation is to approve the minutes, and that's just the corrections to the text. I want to point that out. I'll say it again. We have obligation to approve the minutes, and that's the corrections to the text. So with that, well, the ones that voted against it, what do you suggest, and how do you suggest to proceed with all the action items?
We move on. You can't, because you don't like the vote, now you don't wanna proceed, I say we move on to
No, I'm
the
just
next
asking
one.
the question.
Oh,
That's all
well,
I'm
we
asking.
move on, motion failed.
Question. So these minutes don't pass, so these home site leases are not going through? The home site lease for William Bass and to amend Esther Mercer's home site lease. And then there's some lease bids in there too. Let me figure out what the next step is. That's all.
Just tell them. Okay, moving on to number 5. October 10th, 2018, CEO report meeting. Report meeting.
I move to approve the CEO report.
It's been moved by Kenny. Is there a second?
Second?
Second by Jen. Are there any objections? Not, motion carries. 7-0-0. Number 6, Tribal Council Orientation and Reorganization Meeting.
Mr. Chairman, I in all honesty cannot approve the minutes of that reorganizational meeting until one item is removed from the minutes. That item being the appointment of Roland Warner to the HCI board. I hate to see all of those other motions at a standstill just because of one incorrect procedure in the appointing and nominating process, which I'll bring up under tribal council item. if someone wants to entertain a motion to accept all the minutes except the board of directors appointment, I would be supportive of that.
So what's your motion?
I didn't make a motion.
Okay.
I said I would be supportive.
Anybody gonna have a motion?
I make a motion to approve the minutes.
Been moved by Roland, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Jim. Are there any objections?
I object.
Okay, call for the vote here. Those in favor? Jim, Roland, Coley. 3-4. Against? Okay, 3-4. Motion failed.
Mr. Chairman,
Moving on. Old business. Lorraine Thomas. Domestic violence intervention request. Domestic violence.
I have a new
Lorraine,
letter.
Lorraine.
Oh, here we go. Sorry.
Thank you. Hi. Good evening. I do have a new letter that I can bring around so you guys can all look at it. I do apologize for not being here on the last council meeting. I thought the meeting started at 1, and it was just a miscommunication with my eyes, so I apologize. As you know, October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and for our activity, we chose to do a round dance. And through our DOJ grants and other federal funding, that we cannot do door prizes and stuff like that, like the competition part of it. So I did reach out to a few programs to help us out. The health department is going to take care of our food. And then the Winnebago Health Education is going to take care of the stick man and 4 other invited singers. And then Winnebago did offer 2 rooms free and 300 bottles of water. And the Native Women's Society, they did come up with the $800 for the T-shirts. And the Legal Aid of Nebraska, they did come up from the lower years $600 for the competition. So what I'm asking for, if there's any other questions, we are short of a drum group competition. The contract cook and a cake, but I can work with that. But I was just trying to come forward to see if on the tribal council side could help us out. We do have T-shirts, and on the back page of your letter, that's what the T-shirts look like. And then on the back, we're going to have the logos of each program that helped out. The reason why we chose the round dance is because the healthy relationships, it's cultural, and it's we can pull in the healthy relationships with it. If you can look at the logo on the t-shirts, I like that logo. Dorsey Carnes, our victim advocate, came up with that design, and she did it herself. But it's two people side by side. It takes two to be in a relationship, respect, honor. We're going to have a. I'm thinking it was going to be a big crowd, and I'm hoping that we can. Kirby Williams from the Legal Aid of Nebraska and the Carmen O'Leary. She's the board of directors of the Native Women's Society. She's also coming. Also, they're going to talk about domestic violence and healthy relationships.
Boy, this is almost a full-blown powwow.
Yeah.
How
All
come
in
so many-
all
how
in
come
like
so-
4 hours.
How come so many people are from out of town? Don't we have Winnebago people that could be involved in this, besides Oklahoma, Wisconsin, Minnesota? and
Let's
all? Why from all over the country? What's wrong with the people that live here?
Les Painter, our health education director, he is the one that for a stick man and to have people that are known for what the round dance is all about, then he felt that the singers were he picked out the singers. Yeah. And that's why we opened it up to contest, so the singers here can also be involved in that contest, the 3-man and the couple contest. Next year, if this is a good to go, I really want to maybe make it on a weekend, so more people can participate. So yeah, the ones that work at night can also participate during the day.
Tori?
Are the invited singers being paid a separate fee? Are they allowed to participate in the contest?
They're allowed to participate in the contest also. They're getting a fee of $200,
And then,
but they're driving from other places.
well, yeah.
Yeah.
Anybody.
And we're not paying their mileage. We're only paying the mileage for the stick man who's coming from Minnesota.
They're asking for $750.
I'm just kind of disappointed that we're not using our local resources for this. And I'm also kind of upset that this was all done prior to knowing if you were gonna have the money or not. It's like it was a given.
No, I was planning this way back in September if you looked at the other letter, that was September 15th or September something. I can't remember what it was, and I started out with the Winnebago Casino. I had no idea I was going to come to Tribal Council and ask for help, and then it just turned out that we're getting down to it, and I haven't heard from the U.S. Attorney with the Sherwood grant that she has that could possibly help out. Yeah, I wasn't really planning. We didn't ask for Tribal Council help last year, and I don't know if they asked for help the years before, because this is only my first year here.
What's this gonna do for the people that are victims of domestic violence? What is this activity gonna do for them?
We're also going to have speakers also, and then on the outside we're going to have our booths up from all of the 4 tribes of Nebraska. Our resources will be there too, and our advocates will be available if they need some help, and we'll make sure that our services are out there for our community.
Mr. Chairman? Sure. I went to, attended, consultation in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. You know, there are tribes from all over the country, you know, that this domestic violence affects all of us, you know, and even some of the program directors and stuff had, you know, had revealed that they had victims of domestic violence, and you know, it was you know, far and wide, you know, that anything that can bring attention to this, you know, is a good thing, you know, bringing all of these tribes together, you know, and then they probably have relatives that were that had been abused and things like that. So, and then providing a meal, but also at that time then having the speakers address this subject, you know, to what we have available. You know, we're trying to the domestic violence program has they're housed in the hen house right now, but they have plans to hopefully expand to a larger a home, have one built, and I think they have money in their budget to do that, but they'll have to come up with the you know, plans for the facility, and then also get 3 bids and things like that. But they checked with our funding source, and it is allowable that the program could have the cost of the new home, new shelter for the women, and then they would use the old shelter as office space, but also a shelter for the males of the community.
I'm not grandstanding or saber rattling, but I just feel that if the resources is gonna come from all the local entities, then I feel like the local organizations, drum groups and all, singers and all that kind of stuff, should be the ones that are the recipients of a paid event. The only ones I see on here is Silas and Les Painter. And I'm just not comfortable with that for something that's gonna cost this much.
I know
I
that.
won't put a damper on it, but I'm gonna have to be convinced a little bit more.
Yeah, I understand. I do know that they did have the round dances before, and they're different from a team of singers. So when they're round dancing, they use a hand drum and they sing that, and there's different kind of songs that they can sing. Some guys might be a little shy, maybe, I don't know. But I have talked to Les, and I told him when we first started, I wanted singers from the 4 tribes of Nebraska. And we were sitting there just pondering our minds of who we can ask for invited singers. But those other singers around the community are more than welcome to come. And that's why we did put the contest on there. Thank you, Mr. Snow, for bringing up my dream of our domestic violence program.
Mm-hmm.
And we do have men that are in need of services also, and we do help them. But the only thing is that it costs so much to be in a hotel room and to be and come and pay for their food. And I do have Mr. Snow also asked me to write a written testimony for the DOJ, and I do have a rough draft. I just have to tweak it a little bit and add some more stuff to it, but I will be getting that to him before the end of the week.
Who asked you to?
Mr. Snow. It is for the DOJ. The OVW is in the leer of being passed by legislators for the Violence Against Women Act. And that will be in December. So they're accepting written testimony until the end of this month, I think the 22nd. The grant manager also asked me to write something, and yeah, so when Mr. Snow came forward also, I thought I better write something.
What do you do, Council?
Make a motion to approve $750 domestic violence hand drum contest for domestic violence.
How much?
Total request $750
$750.
in the general fund.
Second that.
Moved by Jim, second by Mel, authorizing $750 for the domestic violence intervention request for their October 2018 activities.
October 25th.
Let's see. Well, I'm just reading from the top
Yeah.
of your list here.
Where will it come from?
Jim, did you specify general fund?
General fund, yep.
Robin? General fund?
If you guys wanna do that.
Go for the vote.
Any further discussion?
Discussion.
Discussion. Roland?
This is your flyer, correct?
Yes, it is.
You put this flyer out when?
Probably end of September.
Okay. Down there it says drum contest. And you are now coming to us asking us for $750 for your contest. Correct?
Mm-hmm.
So, knowing that you were going to do that, shouldn't you have secured that funding first before you put that out? What if we said no?
That is what the U.S. attorney was supposed to pay for a part of that drum contest.
That's just floating
So,
in the air.
yeah.
That's not
I understand.
substantial.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just trying to point that out to you, that it's kind of not too cool, you know,
I knew that I
to
had.
come to this table and do that to us like that.
I apologize.
So I'm just out for the record, you know. I want
Mhm.
that. Don't do that.
Mm. I'm sorry. I did know in the back of my mind that I did know programs that would help support this.
But I do support what you're doing.
Thank
It's
you.
very important. But I want you to know that if you're gonna do something and you're gonna put that out there for everybody to see,
Mm-hmm.
secure it first before you come over here, because that puts us in a real bad spot. And that's just you know, just don't do that to people.
Mm.
That's
It-
all.
I apologize.
It's done all the time, though.
I didn't mean to.
Call for the question, Mr. Chair.
Okay, the question's been called. Those in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous vote. 700. Motion carries.
Wapatatanka.
Uh-huh.
Tribal council items, Victoria Kitchen, MMPC and CMS TTAG meetings at Washington DC on November 13th to the 17th, 2018. Reimbursed by HHS/CMS. Victoria, you wanna explain?
Council, I have in the packet the next face-to-face meeting for the Medicare Medicaid Policy Reform Committee, and that's commonly known as the MMPC. And so in my capacity of the National Indian Health Board, I'm the chair of the MMPC. And the MMPC is the technical work group to the CMS, Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Technical Tribal Advisor Group. And so NIHB holds a contract with CMS to be the technical advisors. And so the MMPC is a collection of tribal leaders and technical advisors that get together in advance of the CMS T-TAG to review policy, discussions, talking points. It's kind of like the work group, and out of that is all these several subcommittee work groups, and it's sponsored by CMS. So as the NIHB MMPC chair, I'm the delegate to the for the NIHB seat on the CMST tag. So it's another hat that I wear under my National Indian Health Board position, and it kind of, I guess, creates two other roles that I play subordinate to my NIHB delegation. And it's sponsored and reimbursed by CMS, and that's why in the emails I have two outreach. The first one is from Dominique from NIHB saying, are you coming to the next meeting? And then the next one is from the CMS contractor that does the travel. So they book the flight and they do all that business and then send the check back to the tribe for the per diem and such. So it's a good opportunity, again, for Winnebago to be involved in that type of work, as well as it's the biggest topic right now is the CMS work requirements and community engagement. I've talked to the council a little bit about that. In fact, this evening there's a meeting in Pender, and they were asking, and I forwarded that to you guys this afternoon. They were asking for me to come and explain why Medicaid expansion in Nebraska is important to tribal health. It's so Nebraskans in general, Medicaid expansion would be good, but for Native Americans, and that was kind of highlighted in Jim's article he sent to us, that it's a win-win for the states because they call it the federal match percentage or something, 100% FMAP, and so the states aren't putting in anything; they're getting reimbursed by the government. So this work group, in essence, monitors, advocates, and is the voice on behalf of Indian country for policy reform for Medicaid and Medicare. And so the request in the packet is an approval to attend the next face-to-face meeting, which typically take place in Washington, D.C. That's what it is.
Move it. Second.
He moved it. Kitty seconded it.
It's been moved by Jim, seconded by Kenny.
I didn't second it.
That's what he said just
Oh,
now.
I thought I heard
I
you
did.
second.
I did.
Okay, let's do this again. You said, okay. All right, point of order here.
I will move to approve.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved by Roland, seconded by Jim. Any objections? Not, motion carries. 7-0-0.
Question, or do you want that in the minutes, reimbursed by CMS?
I would appreciate it. That's why I had Teresa put it on the agenda, so that I wanted to start kind of noting every one of these travels that are reimbursed by a federal agency.
Mm-hmm.
Just because it's helpful to the membership that the money is not being spent on behalf of the tribe.
Mm-hmm.
And then in the packet, there's a memorandum that talks about the updates and probably what will be the follow-up at the next meeting if you want to check that out at your convenience.
The next item, number 2, is subject HCI board appointment. Kenny?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, last Friday, when we were doing our organizational review and appointing people to various committees and boards, when it came to HCI, a motion was made to appoint Rollin. Now, in sharing this with you, the individual isn't my issue. The process that we used is what I'm concerned with. Coley made a motion to appoint Rollin to the HCI board, and it was seconded by Jim. That was out of order. And the reason it was out of order is because 2 other people were interested in that. When that happens, you go to the nomination process. That didn't take place. I tried to nominate Mel, and Tori said she was interested in, but the vote was called for. Coley, Rollin, and Jim voted for it. I, Louie, and Tori was against it. Mal voted for it. Mal did not hear from his end of the table to my end of the table that I had nominated him. But the chair just quickly called for the second, and it was seconded by Jim. Then the vote was taken. That procedure was out of order, and that appointment to that board is really null and void until we go through the nomination process. That's what has to take place. So it's really not a valid or legal appointment to that board. Now, if we did it the right way through a nomination process, and this individual was still the one that we want to appoint to that, fine, it's done legally then. But the way we did it Friday was not legal. And that's why I couldn't approve those minutes. If we make that right this evening, then we can approve the rest of the minutes in that meeting. I don't believe in holding up all the appointments and reviews that we had just for one issue, as important as it is. Now, it's going to be said, the prevailing side has to bring it up. No, the prevailing side don't have to bring it up, because it wasn't a properly initiated action. However, if we push the issue of wanting to go that route, we could very easily have a person that was on the prevailing side make a motion to resend it or redo it. And then the person that wants to second that doesn't necessarily have to be on the prevailing side. But if we were to use that issue, the prevailing side, yes, could, if they want, bring it up again. That's the process we're with. I mentioned that to you guys the other day at that meeting. I felt like there was a point of order there, and that we can take care of it at a later date. Well, this is that later date where I'd like to see us take care of it. One way or the other. It was not legal.
But you leaned over, you said, I'd like to see Mel on there. And Tori said, I have an interest on there, I believe she said.
Mhm.
And all of a sudden, a motion was made, and then it was seconded.
Mhm.
So I had to recognize that motion. And the vote went the way it did. It was 4-3. I asked, you know, and everybody clearly raised their hand, and Teresa took the minutes. And she clearly said that she could hear everything over there, where, as far as all of that. And I looked again, and Al had his hand up. So it went 4-3. So now, as far as that, show me where it says nomination. Show me that.
It's
Okay.
in Robert's Rules of Order book.
Okay, and the other thing, as far as reconsideration now, the prevailing side has to bring this issue up. And I don't know if somebody from the prevailing side is gonna bring that up. I don't know.
Well,
And the other thing is, the one that does bring that up, you know, the motion to reconsider should be made at the meeting at which the motion was made.
no.
Yeah,
No.
that's what Robert Rules reads.
Curtis, you would have never called for the vote if you knew Robert's Rules of Order. You should have known right off the bat that when there's more than one people interested in a position, you go to a nominating process. You should have known that, but you turned around and called for the vote.
Well, they made the motion. I had to recognize that motion in a second.
No, if you knew
And then went
Robert's
to the
Rules of...
vote. When you know it's a discussion, you had a chance to say something then. No one said nothing. You had a chance then.
You should have known Robert's Rules of Order that they couldn't have done that in the first place. That was not proper procedure.
Well, why don't you say something then?
I did shortly afterwards.
No, well, you should have said something then. You had an opportunity, and you didn't.
Well, I'm
So the
sorry.
vote went the way it did. I'm sorry. That's the way it turned out, and as far as reconsideration, that's what Robert
Oh,
Rules
okay.
read.
But however long it took me to bring it to your attention doesn't matter. The fact that you didn't follow the Robert's Rules of Order is what matters.
That's all right, they never do anything.
Well, the
Well-
motion to reconsider should be made at the meeting at which the
They haven't
motion was
so
made.
far, so why should they start tonight?
Only when it's convenient.
Yeah, exactly.
Mr. Chairman, Well, that day it did happen so fast, and I said I was interested, and then I understand that Mel couldn't hear at the end of the table, and it felt like there wasn't consideration given to the other nominations. You know, when we had really good conversation throughout the day and real respectful exchange on who wants to be on this, who wants to be on that, and it just seemed that the HCI board and the Winnebago Land Corporation board, like there was just a haste to, you know, complete those portions of the agenda, and so I do feel that it wasn't fairly done, but because I just think, you know, if Rollin is the one that gets the appointment, then that'll happen with fair consideration for the other ones that want to be considered. But you know, with that, I yield to Mel to be considered and hope that we could have a vote on that. So thank you.
Mr. Chair, we went into the vote. It was 4-3. We all voted. We adjourned and we moved on.
It
So
isn't that,
let's
it isn't
continue
that
to
easy.
do so in a good way.
It isn't that easy just to adjourn and move on.
That's what we did though.
We have to make these things right. This happened 11 months ago when we dissolved that board just illegally. Just went ahead and did it. Now here, 10 months later, this situation raises its ugly head again. How long are we going to do this to our people? Now, I'm not grandstanding or showboating, but this has to be done right. You, as a vice chair, should have known that. What if we did that at nominations for officers? What if we just appointed someone and went that route down there? Everything was out of order. No different here. When there's other people interested, you go to a nominating process. That's Robert's Rules of Order. You can ask a parliamentarian. There's 2 lawyers in here. You can ask them. I called James Mills today just to make sure I was right, because I didn't want to be the biggest fool of all. And he said, you're absolutely right. And anybody on the prevailing side, if you were to go that route, you have a person on the prevailing side want to bring it back and vote on it, they can do that. All that person has to do is bring it back. Anybody can second it once the prevailing side presents it. That's the process. That's from the parliamentarian that teaches us Robert's Rules of Order. Like I say, you've got 2 lawyers in here that can explain that to you too. That's the process, Curtis. And I know that it isn't all that easy. I'm not smart. I had to call around to make sure what I said was right. So I'm no expert on that, and I'm not trying to show off my Robert's Rules of Order, because I'm far from knowing a lot of it. But in this situation where it affects this table, it affects HCI, and it affects the people in this community, we can't keep doing that. We're shortchanging our people, and it's no good. And all due respect to you, Mr. Chairman, I did mention it later on. Yes, it was later on. But however late you mention it, don't make it right. It's still wrong.
Well, everybody had a chance to say something, but nothing was said.
Well, you could call for the vote. You could call for the vote.
That's what happened.
Yeah.
That's what happened. And it could be, you know, it says it can be made only on the day the vote to be reconsidered was taken. So that action there, we adjourned. So the person that was on the prevailing side could have brought it up then, and didn't.
I'm not so sure that's right, Curtis. I'm not so sure that's right.
No one said nothing, so.
Whenever it's brought back, doesn't make any difference. It's just that the prevailing side has to do it. You can't turn around and redo it in the same meeting. You can't do it. I would ask someone, if we're gonna make it right with ourselves and the people, you should ask for someone on the prevailing side if they wanna bring it back. That's the right way to do it.
Well, we all have our opinion.
It's not an opinion,
wanna-
this is fact.
Well, yeah, you have opinion,
It's
how I went.
It's Robert's Rules
Sheila,
of Order,
you,
it ain't my
Krista?
opinion.
Yeah, I can. As far as motion. Oh, up here. If we're talking about motions for reconsideration, which seems to be what we're talking about right now, as opposed to the nomination procedure, Robert's rules said, the making of this motion is subject to time limit as follows. In a session of 1 day, such as an ordinary meeting of a club or 1 day convention, the motion to reconsider can be made only on the same day as the vote to be reconsidered was taken.
Yes.
There it is.
There it is right there.
Mr. Adjourn.
Second.
It's been moved by Jim to adjourn, second by Roland. Any objections? Call for the vote. Those in favor? 1, 2, 3. Against?
Mr. Chairman, you have
Four.
a hand up out there in the audience before that motion was made, and that's Robert's Rules of Order. That man has his hand up.
3, 4, motion carried. I didn't see him. It's 3 or 4,
I'm gonna go to Walmart
Motion.
and buy him a whistle.
motion failed.
More items on the agenda. We'll be here all night.
Yep.
Excuse me.
Is that guy leaving? For the sake of argument between you guys, Benny. For the sake of argument. Sit down, Jimmy, this concerns you too. For the sake of argument between you people here. You know, I feel sorry for you guys because of the way you carry on our council meetings and for the people. You guys are here for the people. You guys are sitting here arguing. And that makes us feel bad, me anyway. Because I voted for some of you guys. I trust you. I say that all the time. I say that all the time. And when these committees come around, why don't you guys stay out of them committees and let the general tribal membership be picked for these committees? So you guys are not sitting there arguing. You know Candy was right. You guys never follow Robert's Rules of Order. I read that book too, just like her. As a matter of fact, I got the book. I read it, and he's right. He's right. And I thought we were going to be different, but we're not. You know, this table, the steel cut in half. Just like our tribal membership is cut in half. I do. I feel sorry for you guys. Not all of them. Some of you. Maybe you guys can get together someday and have a real nice meeting and talk it over as to why this goes on here. And I would say resend it. At least you could vote on that. You know, there are just some things that I want to say, but there's a lot of things I want to say, but sometimes Jenny cuts me off. But I'm speaking for myself. From here. I trust you guys, all of you, because you're our leaders. Kurt sitting there, Vice Chairman, he should be a leader that knows that Robert Rules of Order book by heart. He should know the bylaws and the Constitution by heart. I do, because I read everything. The old and the new. Revised ones. I know the Robert Rules and Orders book. Like I said, Kenny was right. So I advise you to read it. And don't sit there and argue. Don't sit there and argue, because that's not right. Re-advertise. Re-advertise. I ain't got nothing against that gentleman, but Kenny was right. Maybe some of you don't want to admit it, that you were wrong when he said you guys were wrong. You did it wrong. And I know that because I come to meetings, I sit there and listen. I go around, I hear talk. But when I say something, I say it because I feel like I want to say it. And I get it off my mind. I just hope you guys can straighten this out. I just wanted to say that.
Daphne?
Today we're talking about something that, and I don't want your guys' opinion on anything that I wrote in this letter right now, but he's addressing exactly what questions that I have for all of you. I know you all have hard and difficult times sitting at this table, and that there might not be anything in this community now, but at one point when I was the chairman of the school board, I was very familiar with Robert's Rules of Orders, and my understanding of that is that you're supposed to, if you're gonna rescind it.
Not to cut you off. You're gonna have to go to the mic.
Okay.
Sorry.
That's okay. And that if my understanding of the Roberts Rules was similar to what Kenny understood, however, that had to be done at the next regularly convened meeting. So when you don't afford the opportunity for the vote after two people express interest, then you are supposed to call for nominations. But there's no crime in that either, as long as your guys are willing to make it right, you know. And so I really hope that you guys will receive this letter that I wrote to you in the manner that I intend, is that to create some kind of unity in our community. You guys are acting like this is Washington or something, that you guys are Democrats and Republicans and fighting against each other, and that's what's disturbing to me. You know, if you're all here for the greater good of all of the people, this will stop. You know, everybody deserves that dignity and respect when they're sitting up here, because none of the decisions that you make are easy. And sometimes all you can hope for is that you make the best choice out of the worst possible situations. Whatever's not going to cause the most damage. But when you guys aren't asking the right questions and you're not filling each other in, you know, that's some people's power base, you know. You want to hoard that knowledge, and so nobody else is as smart as you or whatever. That's your own, you know, inability to own that you don't know everything. Just because you got elected to this table didn't instantly make you the most intelligent person in the room. And I want all of the people that live here to be treated with dignity and respect.
And this just goes right along that path. And Kenny, I really want to applaud the letter that you wrote, because when you guys did that before with those ethical complaints that came in, and Jim moved it, and I don't know who seconded it, but you guys never offered those people 1 ounce of explanation. These complaints are frivolous just because we said they are. You know, how right is that? If there was actual evidence that needed to be reviewed, you guys should have called for a review. So those are the kinds of things that disturb me. And I really do mean it, that, you know, every night I go to bed, I wake up in the morning, I pray, let them have the knowledge they need to do what's right. I don't care who it benefits, just as long as it benefits all of us. This place needs to be here for generations to come, and when you're making decisions based on short-term choices, it doesn't make any sense. You know, where's the sustainability? So I appreciate you giving me your time, and I'll be back to bug you guys consistently. And if you want me to, I'll bring you all a copy of the Roberts Rules. I have 7 of them. All right, thank you.
Mr. Chairman, in closing, I'd like to say that I brought my issue forward, and it was addressed. I'm not satisfied, but I'm not going to lose sleep over it either, although it bothers me. It was just done wrong, that's all. It was just done wrong. And it doesn't require days or months to make it right, or that same meeting. It should be dealt with as it comes up. But I don't want to pit us against one another at this table. It's not healthy. We're behind in a lot of things because we don't all 9 agree on everything. We got a casino that's had some tough times. HCI got hit this year. We can't be strong-arming those people for additional resources because we don't make sound financial decisions. We just have to suck up and do what's right to make ends meet. So thank you for letting me at least voice my opinion, and I don't like division. I don't care for division, but it's there. And until we all 9 agree, we're gonna still be spinning our wheels because there's a lot to be done. I've been sitting here for 3 years now, and we ain't done a damn thing about this enrollment situation, this moratorium. It's still there. There's a lot of people waiting to be recognized for what they truly are. That's at a standstill. So, I don't know. You good?
So you have Kenny?
That's all I have.
Keith?
Yeah, Curtis, I just have a brief comment, you know. What,
Can you come up to the mic?
I'd much rather not.
No, I can't. Mr. Chair? Yes.
You know, you guys sit here and you back things back and forth, okay? I don't know what this trip that.
Keith, the outside people need to hear what you're saying.
Okay, well, that's fine. You know, this trip that y'all approved to wherever it is today, you know, I had a woman that's 53 years old call me this morning, crying. Okay. You know, she was crying because she went down to this facility and the mental health director fired the therapist. So I went down there to visit with the mental health director, okay? She's African American descent, I forget her name, okay? And what are you gonna tell those 146 people that that's gonna affect? What are you gonna tell them? You know, this lady that called me early this morning, she said, I'm gonna go start drinking again. That's not the answer. But we need to fly off to Oklahoma and Alaska and Iceland and all over. But we can't help our own people. You know, you guys are here. You work for us. We don't work for you. You know, And if you can't make a decision, then get a piece of paper and write your name on it. I resign. Okay, it's as simple as that. And I told the lady down at the hospital this morning, I said, when this hospital, when the patients stop walking through that front door, you're not going to have a job. You know, I don't know who the 146 people are that this affects, but the lady that called me this morning, she was bawling like crazy. What am I going to do? Because that's going to stop her medication. She can't get it anymore, which adjusts her attitude and stuff. And then when I talked to that lady down there, it's going to affect 146 people. She said, I got to call them up and tell them, we can't help you no more. So why do we need to go to Alaska? And I'm not faulting you, Tori, okay? But why don't we spend the money here? You know, and I agree with what Benny said and what Daphne said. When you have committees, let's put some new bodies on those committees, because they come stale after a while and they stink, okay? We did that with the Housing Authority. And they didn't like it, so then they manipulated that whole process. You know. But that's just my perspective, okay? You know, and I talked to that lady at length this morning. I cried with her. You are the people that make those decisions, whether or not we have a mental health therapist. Nobody would tell me why we don't have a mental health therapist now, you know. We can spend money for, you know, whatever this domestic violence thing is, you know. Why don't we spend the money and help this lady? Why don't we spend the money and help 146 tribal members? Why? You know, yeah. Anyway, though, that's my 2 cents for whatever it's worth. And you can call me and I'll listen to anything.
Tori?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Keith, thank you for your comment. I also received a phone call today, but what I can report is that the provider fulfilling those services to the community did not accept the terms of the contract that was presented to them, and that impacted patient care, and as you noted, 146 patients. And so as a result of that provider not accepting the contract terms, there was a contingency plan put in place so that those patients could receive their care. But what I'm hearing directly from some of our tribal members was that was disrupting their care, and some of them having to go upstairs, some of them having to be diverted to ER, and different paths that were going to get them their prescriptions that they needed. And so I committed to following up with the executive management to see what the next steps was, because this was pretty much not in the plan for this individual to not continue their services. And so now what we have are a domino effect in response to getting these patients their care, and how do we retain those services or renegotiate what we can offer. And as you know, we haven't been able to hire a full-time psychiatrist, and for that reason, I think they said for 17 years this person has had a relationship with the tribe. And so we can't control what a provider will or won't accept with their contract, but we can work harder to provide that continuity of care. And so that I'm going to follow up with tomorrow, and we're in the building.
But, and I guess in response, you know, whoever this Dr. Noisy Hawk is that works down there, you know, she made a decision about my treatment on my foot. So I went down there to talk to her and Danelle and that Denny Haig or whatever his name is, because I wanted to know how she based that decision. Okay. So I introduced myself to her. You know, I took all of my referrals and down there, because I keep them, because I don't trust those people down there. Okay. And she said, well, you're a category 3. I said, well, what's a category 3? Oh, category 3 is people we don't pay for. And I said, you're the doctor. I said, when did you examine my foot? when did you install this PICC line in my arm? When did you do that? And she sat there and she said, didn't say a damn word, Tori. Not a word. So you know what I did? And I would suggest this to everybody. If you get a no answer from that hospital down there, or what they call a hospital, call up CMS, get their phone number, and hold it up. Once you hold that number up down there to the administrator and the medical director and stuff, when I left that office, I was told, we will pay your bill, Keith. But I shouldn't have to go to that extent. That's silly. But she never did look at my foot. To this day, she's never looked. But she made a decision about the care for my foot. I don't know if you guys know that.
Thank you, Keith, for also saying that, because that's a issue that is Indian Health Service wide, where based on the funding they have in the PRC, formerly known as Contract Health, they would have priority 1, priority 2, and priority 3. And I know you're aware of this. And what's really troubling for all of Indian country is that there's not enough funding that everyone can have their ailment serviced. And they have that, I've heard that phrase, don't get sick after June, and it's like this sick joke that the money runs out, and so they start going for life or limb on what they'll pay for or what they have the funding to prioritize those. And it's commonly known within IHS that they'll cut the leg off before they'll treat, the prevention. And so that's something that tribal hospitals do a better job at addressing, because they do better at collecting third-party revenue to have money to service all their patients. But I can tell you, in fact, we're not there yet because we're not certified and we don't have that stream. So that's where we want to be, but I'm sorry that you that right now it sounds like they are. I know last summer we were at priority 1, and then there was funding made available, and then we were servicing some priority 2s. And so I'm not in the capacity to assess, what deems those levels, but that's not just our facility, that's the whole country operates, unfortunately, under those financial strains and inadequate funding levels to treat our PRC and contract health needs.
But,
Thank you.
In response to what you're saying, though, Tori, this is my foot, okay? So I asked that Dr. Noisy-Hawk, I said, if this was your foot, what priority would it be, okay? When people walk through that door, yeah, Kenny's going to interrupt me again, but so I'll get fast, all right? And I agree with part of what you said, Kenny, tonight, so, maybe the storm's going to come or something. But, since the beginning of September, I've been driving back and forth to Sioux City, Iowa to Mercy Medical Center because what I need for my foot and in my arm, this facility can't get it. So why? I constantly ask that question. Well, it's not on the formulary. Hey, we pay that company $215 an hour for her to sit there. Take that $215 and put it into the formulary. Okay? Why not? Is she more important than my foot? The answer is no. My foot is. And I'm at the point where you talked about, because at this hospital here they were talking about cutting my foot off. So I go to Mercy Medical Center to Dr. Paul Johnson. No, we're not going down that road, Keith. We can heal it. So I go every day at 1 o'clock. I can't get help from the hospital, the tribe, Human Services, Department of Health and Human Services at the state level, because, and I say this, and it's not really funny, but you need to change all the tribal programs to we can't. Instead of being health, say, oh, we can't. All right. Because that's all the answers I've gotten. So I went and borrowed money from my bank so I could have gas to go back and forth. I'm done, Curtis. Okay.
All right, thank you, Keith.
Yeah.
I want to. I got a hand up back there. Who's that, Dusty? Dusty?
Let's say good afternoon, everybody. What they're talking about of that separation at this table that's apparent throughout the our people, and so we have a lot of understanding that what you guys do. There's a lot of hard decisions that are made here. And so we think that as long as there's a council member on these things, that everything should be okay. We trust all of you. And then yet to be finding one against the other for no reason. As long as there's a council member on that board, we should be okay. We believe everything will be okay. We don't understand what that separation or that argument's about. But yes, you guys are the leaders of our people. A lot of us trust you. We put you in here, and we voted for a lot of you, obviously. And so with that we need to be leading our people. You guys need to be leading our people in a good way to help our people with a lot of the programs that we have that could use more money, and help our people out first and foremost. And so with that, with leading the way into the future, is to lead by example, whether it's drug and alcohol free, since we're jumping across a lot of subjects here. IHS, halfway houses, 3/4 houses, whatever it might be. We need to get on that same process for our people, to make our people stronger and not just have a bigger voice here. Make decisions that don't need to be made. But so with that, I think I'll say about that much. So there shouldn't be too many excuses for why we can't lead our people. You guys can't lead our people in a good direction. But so anyway, I'll say about that much. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair.
Hold up.
We did approve that reorganization deal because of this one issue. Now that that's been resolved, we need to go back and approve the minutes in totality. So I'll make a motion that we approve the organizational and reorganizational meeting of last Friday. And that approves all of the appointments that have been made.
Second, this is number 6, right, Kenny?
Mm-hmm.
Discussion, Chairman.
Okay, Jim.
Thank you, tribal members, for your comments, and then to update Keith, and then, taking over the hospital is quite a task. And before this was ever done, I said we have to have a business plan in place, otherwise we are going to be IHS and denying services to our people. And one of the options that we have is to enroll our tribal members in the Affordable Care Act. Because there's a waiver, and then because of the income guidelines, there would be no premiums for a tribal member, but also would offset the budget constraints of the Indian healthcare budget. We are allocated just based upon our number of users, and then that's why they say when it gets close to April or May, then because of the funding, and that's why they go to those priorities, priority 1, priority 2, priority 3, and based upon those, that's why they're denying services to a lot of our tribal members. But if we have Lauren and Lisa down there recruiting, and then also we probably could hire some personnel in our health department to go out there, and they're called navigators, and to actively go out and seek tribal members to enroll in that Affordable Care Act. And also, for everybody's information, in November of this year, there's a measure on the ballot to expand Medicaid in Nebraska, and that would affect over 90,000 people that are employed, but it also would affect the urban Indians in this state for them to have healthcare coverage. And then it would be at no cost to the state because CMS reimburses the Native Americans at 100%. State of Nebraska, state federal reimburses at 90%. So the state has a 10% obligation on that Medicaid funding. But that's just to update you and some of the things to consider this election day.
So that initiative, you should vote yes to then, or is that what you're saying?
Yes.
So Kenny, on number 6, are you making a motion for reconsideration?
No, that we approve those minutes.
Well, we have to do that first because of the vote. I already went to a vote. 3, 4, and then 4 against. So the motion failed.
Yeah. Okay, I'm making a motion now that we've taken care of that issue.
Okay, we gotta vote on that.
Yeah, yeah.
Second. Jim second. Motion. Call for the vote.
Okay, call for the vote. Those in favor? 6. Lori?
I vote no.
6-4.
Yes.
Yeah. 6-4 and 1 no, 0 abstentions. Motion carried.
5-1-1.
6-1-0.
6-1-0.
Okay. Sit on that. Sheila, can I have you stand up? And for the audience and our membership out there, this is Sheila Corbine, our Attorney General, our travel attorney. Thank you. Okay.
Well, how come you don't say the rest?
What's the rest?
She's an employee of Fredericks, Peeble, and Morgan, and we pay her $215 an hour. Put it on the table. Tribal membership has a right to know.
Okay, is there a motion to reconsider or is determined we did all our business? We'll just sit here all night.
Motion to adjourn.
Would you like to pull it to?
Question. Can we approve the minutes of those, your situation?
No. No.
How come we didn't approve those minutes?
I
They
don't
gotta
know.
be brought back up, I suppose.
Yeah, you guys didn't, you said no, so.
Prevailing side.
Was because of that farm, that land cooperation? It was in that bunch of,
In the monthly land meeting, yeah.
yeah. So what do we do now with that situation?
Prevailing side.
Prevailing side, we
Prevailing
bring it
side
back
brings
up
it up.
and make a motion to approve those minutes and get the vote.
Who was, is that where Willie and all them guys' leases were involved?
Yep.
Maybe three home site leases
Yeah.
with
and-
the,
and Willie
CC.
and- Yeah,
CC grant to affect her to,
and we held that one up because of the land management issue?
yeah.
Does the prevailing side have to bring that up? Who was all on the prevailing side?
You, Louis, Tori, Mel.
I move to approve those minutes, Mr. Chair.
Any moves to approve the, try to get the right wording here. October 9th, 2018 Tribal Council Monthly Land Meeting Minutes. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Louis. Further discussion on that? Not, is there any objections? One objection. Let's call for the vote. Those in favor?
Aye.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Tori, no?
Extension.
Extension? Okay, 6, 0, 1. Motion carries.
Are we back on track?
Yeah, that's it.
Make a motion to adjourn, Mr. Cap.
Second.
Been moved by Kenny, second by Roland to adjourn. Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, we're adjourned at, what,
6:29?
6:29?